again with Heart to Heart Horsemanship and my assistant Polka. We're here to show you today the driving technique. What drives you? What drives your horse? How much energy do you have to put towards your horse? At what point on your horse to get a certain desired effect? Sounds kind of complicated, not too much. You always want to keep in mind that you want to start with the smallest amount of pressure, no matter if it's touch pressure or if it's energy pressure that you're throwing towards the horse in a matter of terms. You're pushing pressure towards your horse, energy. So you're always going to want to start with the smallest amount. And when I say that some of my horses that are fairly sensitive, a small amount would be a finger moving. Boom. That's energy being thrown at that direction. So that would be something where you want to keep your mind going back to the smallest amount of pressure. The opposite end, if you need to add more pressure, you're always going to add in increments. It's always going to be starting small, adding a little bit more, adding a little bit more, adding a little bit more, until you get to affect your horse. And when you start at the smallest and do your increments, it's always going to be started with a small cue that they can watch for. So you're always backing it up. You're always saying, yes, you really should be doing this for me as you get bigger. But if you always remember to start small, your horse is smart. They don't want you to get big. They don't want you to get over energetic. They want to keep you happy also. So they start to look for that smallest cue. So don't forget to use the smallest cue first and add your increments. What drives you is, again, use your imagination on this, but your basic form of it is going to be coming in here and teaching your horse that when you apply an energetic presence, when you apply that pressure with your body, with moving in there, that they're supposed to move. So right now I've got a lot of energy, a lot of my focus. Focus is huge. They know where we're looking, people. They really, really do. So make sure your focus is where it belongs. It's just a habit that you have to use and get into. So I was focused on her hind quarter. I had my energy coming out of my body towards that focus point, and I want her to be able to move it. If she were not getting what I wanted moved, I can always add in. I can add in a rope swing or the stick and string, whatever you've got. Good girl. But we want to convey to her that we want that hind quarter moved. The other section of your horse that is easy and good to practice as far as driving and an energy pushed towards them is the forehand, just like we did with the hands-on pressure. So I didn't have to touch the horse. She knew from my presence, she knew from the energy that I was conveying to her that I wanted her to keep moving. Did not take much, so I figured that out. I said, my sensitive horse here, how much pressure do I need to push at her? This imaginary pressure that you can almost see when you start really believing in it, that it is going to work for you. So I like to have a little routine that I do here that it kind of, after I've checked pieces, I kind of check in on this to see if it's all coming together. One of the other things that this actually represents are the 3 different reins that we use while riding. A little bit added to it, but you'll kind of get the picture and you'll be able to see it. When I'm riding, I want to be able to take away that hip. I want to be able to push that hip over. I want to be able to lead the forehand where I need it to go. And then I need to be able to push it. Like using a neck rein. So I just practiced all of my reins on the ground with the slightest bit of energy. Pushed onto the proper place. So it kind of shows you that you don't always have to touch a horse to get an effect, and that you need to be able to assess. If you came in with a lot of energy with this horse, it'd probably be a little bit too much for her. She doesn't need that. So being able to, and on the opposite end of the spectrum, I've got a few of my own that you really do have to come in a little bit bigger. They need to gather more energy from you because they're a little bit lazy, or maybe they just didn't feel like doing it, quite that fast or right then at that moment. So you add in your own energy and you give it to them and you say, yeah, let's do this. The other one, you can ask for different rates of speed when you slow your energy down, when you make it small. They should be coming along with you, slow, soft. When you need a little bit more, you're going to add in more energy of your own and give it to them and say, hey, I need maybe just a little bit faster here. Good girl. She didn't really appreciate that. She had a little bit of an issue with me pushing a little bit harder out of the blue because I've been standing here and she's half asleep. But that gives you an idea of how we can change the energy and how we can affect them and make their feet faster or slower by driving. This is a driving energy. You're not touching. In the end, if you need to, if they really aren't understanding, you can come in with a tool, come in with a little pat, something like that lets them know exactly what you want from them, what piece of their body that you'd like to move. I think that kind of covers driving in general. Again, all of these things, use your imagination on. They can take you many, many places. So don't lose that part of it, that it's not just a certain technique, it's a concept. You can use it, you can take it to any aspect of your horsemanship and use this technique or this concept. So keep that in mind. And again, this is Shauna from Heart to Heart Horsemanship.